You want to do a podcast? Anybody want to do a podcast? I'm just putting this out there because I'd like to do conversations with people, but I want to ask if I can just put it on YouTube. Probably not many people will watch it. Like not many people watch my YouTube, but I like thinking about a conversation, like a Zoom, face-to-face Zoom like podcast conversation. I would love to do that as sort of like a workout. Like I don't know if you could think of it as like a workout, but like I'm going to jujitsu, and I like the idea of just like I'm not good at conversation. I have like no experience engaging with a human with face-to-face interaction. I've like avoided face-to-face interaction my whole life. And so I'd like to just think of it really almost kind of like a jiu-jitsu match, in the sense that like I want to learn some little tools, like how should I do things? Like should I relax more? Should I nod sometimes when somebody says stuff? I wish I could just look at it as sort of like a physical like game. It's just a game. It's like if I did a podcast, I shouldn't take it like seriously, like personally, like oh, like I was rude. I like to just think like it would be cool to basically be able to occasionally watch some of the conversations that I have and be like, that's what happened. Like that's what I did and didn't do. And they're like, oh, I didn't notice that like I'm kind of frozen the whole time. Maybe I should nod sometime. I'm not going to be critical of like the other person. They're free. I won't get mad no matter what they do. I'm not going to be like, oh, you should nod more. But like for me personally, it would be great to basically watch the video and be like, oh, like I was not nodding enough. I was like staring too much, or like, you know, I was kind of mechanical. Maybe I should like be myself more. Just all of that. I'm not very good at like in the moment objectively telling how I'm doing, but it'd be really eye-opening, and it would take the mystery out of it for me personally, to just be able to watch the conversation and just in a real objective, matter-of-fact way just be like, that's what happened, and just think of it as all basically as like a physical thing. I like that idea. Nobody's listening, right? But I'm going to jiu-jitsu 5 days a week, and I like it's weird because like jiu-jitsu really is just basically it's all physical. Like you don't even really talk much. You don't talk during the match, and I like the idea of just like jiu-jitsu. Basically, I don't want to ramble on. Basically, long story before I start rambling, if you want to have a Zoom, if you want to have like a 10 or 20 minute Zoom chat with me any weekday at 6:30, I would love to do that anytime you want. But ideally it should be at like 6:30 Pacific. I can meet every weekday at 6:30, and I would love to just be able to record it. If you want to do that, my email is up there in the light blue. It's SeanPatrickRichards415@gmail.com. And this could be good for you too, because like if you want to, first of all, I'm just going to ask you questions the whole time. So it would just be like, I will want to get to know you, and I want to learn things about other people. And so I have this thing where like, I have these questions that I've written down that I'd like to just ask people, like, you know, what are some of your interests? What sort of things are you wanting to do in the future? Not like personal questions, but just kind of like, you know, I'm curious about like ways that other people spend their time, or you know, what other people like to do, and you know what they've done in the past that they like, stuff like that. Real sort of general, not too personal stuff. But also, if you're at all interested in like just kind of learning like conversation stuff, I'd love to just think of a conversation almost as like a physical thing, just sort of like just like jiu-jitsu. We have these things that we do, and then we can just like watch it and be like, oh, I never noticed I did that. I don't know, maybe most people have like more experience with conversations than me, but I would love to just be able to sort of like have conversations with people and be like, oh, I never noticed that I don't like nod enough, or I never noticed that like I don't ask questions. Just it would be very eye-opening. So anyway, I don't know if anybody's interested in doing that, but if anybody wants to do that, I'll do that anytime at 6:30 Pacific on any weekday. Okay. But yeah, basically what I'm asking on this video is like, are you okay with me recording it and putting it on YouTube? And I'm not going to use it for anything. I'm not going to I'm not trying to like make anybody, I'm not going to ask anything personal. I'm not going to hit on you. I'm not going to harass you. I'm not going to make money off this or anything like that. Like it's just probably no one's even going to watch it, but it seems like a good like workout thing to do. It would be like a social workout thing, and it would be cool to just get to know people also and learn things about people. I'd be like these little questions. Nobody's listening, right? I'll just go to the little questions. I have these little questions that I'm trying to write down, like some things I wonder are just, anyway. That's all I really have to say. So if you want to do that, you can email me 10 or 20 minute podcast interview. I would just interview you at like any weekday at like 6:30. Some general questions I wonder are like, are these are just things that I sort of wonder about other people. Like, are particularly like younger generations, but I could ask this about older people too. Is like, are people opposed to hard work? Like, is there a thing now where like, is hard work sort of like an old school thing, and are people now sort of more interested in just working smart? Is it kind of an old school thing to just be like, work hard is good for no reason? It's like, is that kind of silly? Should people work smart? Also, I wonder I don't want to ask like really personal things, but I'm just curious about like how many people even plan to get married anymore. I'm wondering if marriage is sort of becoming like an outdated thing. I feel like that. I feel like it seems weird. Sometimes I think it's weird to like, why do people have to feel like they have to own some person? Like, I have to be your favorite person forever, and you have to be my favorite person forever. I wonder if that's becoming sort of an outdated thing. But some of these might be too personal. I would like to ask really like innocuous, non-personal questions, like, what do people do these days? Like, I don't really get out much. Do you have a thing that you do like regularly, like a hobby or something like that? And then, what do you consider like a good future, or kind of things that you'd like to do more of? Like, I always kind of wonder, like, if you could have the future turn out some way where you get to do certain stuff, like what sort of stuff would you like to do more of in the future? And then, did your parents raise you to do certain stuff? That's a question I generally have, particularly of men. Like, I don't want to ask real personal stuff, but sometimes I wonder, like, did your parents instill some kind of values into you, and do you think what you're doing has to do with like the way you were raised, or I don't know, just basic stuff like that? Do you do live streaming? Are there new technologies that you like? Just basic questions like that. So basically, my thinking is like, Joe Rogan, when he does podcasts, he does things. He doesn't like having like a predetermined plan. He likes to do everything like cool, like on the spot. Like, I'm doing it on the fly. I have no nerdy plan. I am not an expert at human communication. I'm basically crippled. I've been in my room for 7 years. I haven't done like interpersonal stuff at all. And so basically, if I do a interview, I'd really like to just have like a script for a while. It would be cool to do some stuff off of like questions, but then it would also just be cool to try to say things off the cuff. And I have some, like, nobody's listening, right? But I have these like little general things that like, nobody cares, but just for the record, I avoided social interaction for like the last 7 years because I think I kind of I made a lot of mistakes in the past. Not a lot, but I developed some fears in my 20s or 30s. I developed some fears about socializing because I made some mistakes. Not major mistakes, but like I noticed like sometimes in the past I could be like too get the point, Sean. Like, I worry that I'm gonna do some sort of I'll be fine. Basically, I'll just make let's just say, if I have a conversation, I promise not to say like anything negative, and I'm not gonna like do anything that would like embarrass somebody else, and I'm not gonna be all weird. I'll try to be like a normal human being. That's pretty much it. I don't want to scare somebody off. Basically, it'll be fine. I'm just gonna ask some questions, and nobody's gonna watch the interview. Nobody really watches my channel anyway. But basically, it would be cool to just do like a no big deal 20-minute conversation with somebody where I can ask them questions and they can possibly ask me questions, and we can just have like a nice normal conversation. And if you also want to like get better at like conversation, it would be cool to just do that as sort of like a workout, like a sort of like, I've averted eye contact for like 7 years. It would be cool to just learn how to do some basic like human interaction. For me to do that. Maybe other people, they have like more experience having conversation. I have completely avoided eye contact conversation for my whole life, so it'd be cool to just like do that. And I promise not to do anything negative. I promise not to harass anybody. I'm not gonna try to pick up on anybody. I'm not gonna bully anybody. I'm not gonna get offended. That's my little rule. Is basically, I'm not gonna offend anybody, and I'm not gonna get offended. I'm not gonna intend it. I'm not gonna say anything mean or anything like that. And yeah, okay. That's if you want to do that, my email is up there. Any time at 6:30 on Pacific would be cool. Have a good day.